So let's face it, we all want to be super successful, right? And I don't understand why there's so many videos on YouTube that talk about being successful, where in fact it's actually pretty simple. Not certainly easy, but it is very simple. You find your niche, you work super hard, you work very focused in one particular direction for a long enough period of time, and you show resiliency when you get setbacks, and you continue working in the same direction, and that leads you to success. So I think it's easy to say that if someone says that they did not get successful, they probably did not work hard enough in a particular direction, or did not show resiliency when they face setbacks, or were not focused enough. Now we want to understand why these situations happen to people over and over again, despite them wanting to be successful. They get tired, they don't want to work hard enough, or anytime they fail, they feel so demotivated and so sad. And sometimes the ideal that they have, that they want to reach, is so far away that it demotivates them whenever they even think about it. And those are the reasons people stop working on their goals or stop working on their dreams and actually do not achieve those dreams. And what's even more surprising is that I know a lot of people who are still not happy despite achieving the type of success that they wanted to achieve. So we all want to be successful in a manner that's sustainable. We want to get the type of success that lasts over a period of time, as well as we want to do it in a way that we cause least harm to other people, and we also want to be satisfied when we actually achieve our goals. Because if you're successful and still not happy, still not blissful, still not satisfied, what's the freaking point of all that hard work? So today I want to explore this theory of Karm Yog, or the yoga of action, that was said by Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. This particular text has inspired thinkers across the world. It's inspired people like Ralph Waldo Emerson, Huxley, Schopenhauer, who introduced it to Friedrich Nietzsche, Oppenheimer, T.S. Eliot, and a lot of brilliant minds across thousands of years. Even guys like Eckhart Tolle, who used the concepts in their books like Power of Now. Now, just a small background about how this actually comes out to be. There's this war of Mahabharata between the Pandavas and the Kauravas, and Arjun is on one side and Sri Krishna is in his chariot. He is his best friend, and he's also his guide, and he's also the god. So Arjun is at a dilemma because he is having to go to war against his cousins, against his teachers, against the people that he's been connected with since his childhood. But since his cousins cheated him out of the kingdom, now he's in a war against them where he might have to take action and kill them. And he's in this dilemma where he says that I don't want to kill my cousins. I cannot kill my cousins. I cannot kill my teachers. These are the people that I'm connected with. These are the people that I've known all my life. And you know what Sri Krishna's reply is to Arjun? He's like, you talk like a wise man, but you are a fool. And we're gonna... Now he can say it because he is his best friend. And I think it wouldn't be a very bad idea to have Sri Krishna as a best friend and guide in life. I think it would be very helpful to, in a lot of ways, if you can just have that wisdom and support all the time in your life. Now, what Sri Krishna is that he is a mastermind. He has said so many stuff that can be interpreted through so many different perspectives and various lenses, and sometimes it's so confusing and mixed signals that it keeps me up at night wondering what he actually meant. So in the next few minutes, we're going to be discussing and understanding Karm Yog, or the yoga of action, which takes people ages and ages and lifetimes to fully understand and actualize. But now you guys, because you guys are the smartest audience, and you and I are basically going to unpack it in the next couple moments, just because You people are so intelligent. So my goal here is to explore this idea of Karm Yog, or this yoga of action as said by Sri Krishna, and see how it works in real life. I want to explore it as a reader, as a thinker, and as somebody who likes to experiment with philosophies in their daily lives and see how it applies to our lives. So Karm Yog is based on three essential pillars, and the pillars are: you perform your duties, you do actions in a selfless manner, and you do actions where you're not attached to the results of those particular actions. So duties end up becoming very contextual based on the times that we live in and in the cultures that we exist. In some cultures, people marry once, and in some cultures, it's okay to marry 3 times, 5 times. It's also different based on the age that you live in. In some cultures, something might be considered right, whereas in some other cultures, that thing might be essentially a crime. Also understanding the context that in the war of Mahabharata, Arjun's duty was to fight as a warrior and try to win the war. For him, in that moment, it is okay if he kills the enemy. Just like when we play a game and both the teams try to win the game and both the teams perform their duty in playing the game at its best, in trying to win the game. So duties depend based on, where you live, what place you live, what time you exist in, and what culture you're a part of. Now let's explore this idea of selfless action. Does Sri Krishna mean that all we do is charity and all the time we're just involved in charity work or helping out others? No. What he says by selfless action and what he means by selfless action is that any action that is performed which is outcome independent, where you're not attached to the fruits of that particular action, where you're not attached to the results of that particular action, that action in itself becomes a selfless action. And that is the goal that we're trying to aim for when we try to apply Karm Yog into our real life. So if you get fully invested in the present moment, if you get fully invested into just doing this action, you have way more energy to just invest while you're doing the action, and you're able to give it 100% whatever it is that you're doing. Because if you're constantly thinking about the outcome or the result that that particular thing is going to bring to you, you already have generated fear and you already contemplating if you're gonna actually be successful or not so successful in that situation. What ends up happening when you do that is that you're already investing half of your energy into the fears and half of your energy into thinking about the outcome. So you have way less focus, way less energy to actually invest particularly into that moment. Now, and just like I'm shooting this video, if I do think about, how it's going to look in the end, and I'm constantly thinking about that, I would not be able to flow in the present moment. And a lot of my energy would be invested into just contemplating what the end result might be. Whereas if I stop thinking about that and, give up my desire for a particular impact that this particular thing should create, I get way more energy to actually invest in the present moment, and I get way more ideas to basically experiment within the moment. There's more creativity when I'm actually only in the present moment and going with the flow. And it does create a flow state for a lot of people when you're actually in the present moment. So in a way, giving up this desire for a particular outcome from the actions that you do, it enables you to be in the present moment and you feel the flow of the present moment. And that state of flow is helpful regardless of whatever you do. Think of the times that you were playing a sport, like you're playing baseball or if you're playing cricket. Now when you're actually playing and you're, either you're standing on the pitch with a bat, you're not thinking what the final result of the game is going to be. When someone throws the ball at you, it just puts you in the present moment, and all you can think is be in your body, be in the present moment, and think about hitting that ball as hard as you can. If for some reason you're already in your mind and not fully focused in the present moment, you would not play that effectively. And that is what happens when we listen to music. That's what happens when we go to concerts. we, instead of thinking about, what's gonna happen at the end of the concert and the freaking traffic we're gonna have to deal with at the end of the concert, we're actually enjoying the music. We're totally fully in the present moment, listening to the music and feeling that energy transpire and enjoying that particular moment. Now imagine how happy you felt in those moments when you're playing a sport, when you're at a music concert. And I want to ask you, do you think that you can live your life like that? If you can actually live your life in the present moment, think of how much energy it would free up inside your being. And the sad part is that throughout our childhood, we get conditioned to live in a way where we are only working if there's a particular outcome attached to it. We are only working because we are always thinking one step ahead, and we are always thinking about the next moment and how it is going to be. And we've developed this habit of not actually being in the present moment, which is a very sad conditioning. But now when we read all these things, now when we actually explore these ideas, is it truly possible to, bring yourself in the present moment and do anything that you're doing, you do it with that sense of being in the present moment, of being fully invested in it. And that is what sets us free. That is what is something that becomes a selfless action in terms of anything that we do. And when you think of resilience in terms of this, you also end up becoming very resilient, because the only thing that stops you from going after a particular goal that you've set for yourself is only understanding that that goal is too far off, that it already demotivates you. And when you stop thinking about that particular goal, that demotivation itself goes away. And when you face setbacks, since you were not expecting anything, that setback is just a step along the way that you just cross it while you're actually invested, while you're giving quality by not thinking about the outcome and actually working in the present moment. The setback turns out to just be a step along the way and not a setback that makes you sad, that demotivates you, that in the end stops you from pursuing whatever you're trying to pursue. So what we can take away from this discussion is that you do want to do actions in a way that you're doing them just for the sake of it and in a very selfless manner. And I'd like you to review your day and see if you actually do anything that is selfless to you, if you do anything where you're not expecting the result. And if you don't do it so far, it's okay. It's okay to start doing small things where you're not actually expecting the results. And the more we develop this habit into ourselves, we end up learning how to live in the present moment. And this in turn makes our lives so much more beautiful than what we can imagine ourselves. So this was just a very, very small interpretation of the Yoga of Action, Karm Yog of the Bhagavad Gita. And it was only looked at through a certain perspective. There's way more to Karm Yog than what was discussed, and there's way more to Bhagavad Gita, of course. But I hope this video adds some value to your life, and let me know what your thoughts were on this, and if you'd like to discuss even more ideas of the ancient philosophies. But this is the wisdom that Sri Krishna imparted on Arjuna at the battlefield, which is so deep and so relevant even after thousands of years. It's wisdom that's transpired humanity across cultures, across ages, across thousands of years, and it's still very practical and applicable today, and it's also very beautiful. It is a powerhouse that if someone even goes 2 steps closer to it, their life ends up changing